Top Hill Recording Podcast, episode 187. Our guest tonight, Alex Kasznel and the Board of Directors.
I don't know how to feel when they talk about downtown, how the area's been cleaned up. You should go and check it out. There are holes inside that euphemism, big enough to walk through on your way to lunch at that new place. There used to be a factory for vacuums. The streets are getting cleaner, man. I'm not sure what to think. Half the time it looks like progress, half the time it looks like green. I'm coming up with reasons that it's okay. I'd always like to believe they didn't mean it that way. When they say it's really wonderful what they've done with this place, you should have seen it 20 years ago today. I've been thinking about the Dunlap, all the years that place has seen. A stubborn stack of blue bricks on its narrow namesake street. It's been there since 36, I hope they never tear it down. Still I wonder what it thought of when it saw me come to town. Dilapidated storefronts are transforming all around. They finally built that soccer stadium. Crime is going down, but the block is changing colors. You can almost see the line. It's inching along Vine Street, getting closer all the time. The rents are getting higher, man. I don't like what I see. Tried to diagnose the problem, now I'm worried that it's me. I'm coming up with reasons that it's okay. I'd always like to believe I didn't mean it that way. But am I pushing out the people who were here before it changed? Hope my neighbors don't all look at me that way. And I can't stop thinking about the way that I grew up. And I wanna pay it back, but I could never pay enough. Start to wonder, should I bother feeling guilty for good luck? 'Cause I don't know who exactly that'll help. I'm trying to do the right thing. I swear to God I'm trying to do the right thing. Trying to do the right thing. I swear to God I'm trying to do the right thing. So I've been going out on Saturdays to fix some houses up. Made some lunches for the soup kitchen down there in OCR. I don't know how to fix it all, it feels so far beyond me. But I can swing a hammer if you need me. Yeah, I could be your neighbor if you'll have me. I'm trying to do the right thing. I swear to God I'm trying to do the right thing. They say that nothing ever stays the same. I'm worried that it's true. I'll try not to be the problem. Guess that's all that I can do. 'Cause I wanna be the reason that it's okay. I do believe there is a path for inclusive change. And I don't wanna crack the foundation, just wanna be a part. If you can't see that on my face, hope you can see it in my heart. Da 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 Thanks.
All right, you guys. Welcome to Top Hill Recording Podcast.
Thanks so much for having us, guys.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about that first song before we get too deep.
Sure. So the song is called 20 Years Ago Today, and it's the first song on our album, which is called Everything's Important and Nothing Matters. And it was one of the first songs I wrote for the band, and it's about gentrification, and it's about specifically related to Cincinnati, which is where we're from.
Okay.
I moved there in 2020, and I saw a lot of the stuff happen in my neighborhood in OTR where I live in Cincinnati, very similar to where I was when I was living in Philly a couple years prior. And I noticed that those trends are kind of probably happening everywhere. And I think that it seemed like there was a perspective on that issue that maybe a lot of people were feeling but weren't talking about necessarily, like sort of a sense of like discomfort about the way things are changing around you, and trying to like say in the song, trying to do the right thing and be a positive part of your environment without changing it irreparably, sort of. And it's a difficult thing to figure out because, like, when those things happen, obviously streets getting cleaner, things getting fixed up, kind of, so to speak, in your neighborhood. There's a good aspects to that, but you just want to make sure you're not displacing people who were there first and who really have a lot of stake in what made that neighborhood great to begin with. So it's about trying to figure that out, kind of. And that was, I think when I started playing these songs at like open mics and stuff like that, that was something that a lot of people would come up to me afterward and say like they were feeling kind of the same way as I was. So I felt reasonably confident that would be a good one to put on the album.
Interesting, man. That is actually, just kind of, it piqued my interest because, that's kind of happening here in Louisville right now. Portland, the Portland neighborhood is going through, the government is throwing money down there, and they're putting in like $22 million park, a $17 million new building structure. They're throwing all this money down there, and everything you just sang about kind of goes with that. You can kind of predict what's going to happen. It's going to drive prices up, housing prices. People are going to come in, fix up the stuff that's structurally in need of repair, and then next thing you know, what does that neighborhood look like?
Right, exactly.
Totally, man. That's very, very cool.
Yeah, great song.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I love the idea too. I mean, I've not heard a gentrification song, so
no,
nice.
No, Brent, do I need to bring this camera down for the interview? You think we're okay? Okay. That will be edited out too. No, it probably won't, because I don't even like after the. Here's how my editing skills work. It goes, all right before every song and after every song, I edit the dead space.
Sure.
If somebody tells me to take something out, I'll take it out.
Sure.
Which has happened maybe once, but other than that, I think I forget about it, man. There's probably some stuff I should have edited out. So. All right, you guys. So, Heather, welcome to the podcast. I didn't say Heather's name anywhere in the,
No.
I guess you could be considered the board of directors.
There's only two of us here tonight, but
the CEO.
The board is normally a little bit more extensive, but that's about all we could fit in this room.
Hey, man, yeah, this is a good setup. I always love an acoustic guitar and an upright.
Yeah, you all sound great
Such
together.
a cool sound.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Such a cool sound.
Yeah, we've been having fun with it.
So what we like to do, first timers, is kind of go back to childhood, and since just the two of you, not the full band, we'll just go. Both of you can answer it, if you don't mind. Go back as early as you can remember, and if you can remember a moment in your life, even just the moment where you knew that music was something that was in your soul, that was like something you had to do. You became a musician and you knew that this was it. I had to do it. Was there a moment in your childhood or any time growing up where it just kind of clicked for you?
You got one?
I don't know that as a kid I thought about growing up to be a musician, but I always connected with music a lot. My grandparents had an upright piano that I used to sit down as a toddler and like plink out songs by ear. And my grandpa played guitar, and we had lots of bonfires at their house where he would just get out his songbook and play country and western songs, and we'd sing along. And those memories are super precious to me and really important. So
yeah, that's we grew up with a lot of that. Brent and I, we grew up together, and there's nothing better to this day than a bonfire and a guitar. To this day.
Yeah.
I bet you have.
For me, it's weird because like I don't have a good answer to this question anytime people ask me, because I don't remember a time when I didn't want to play music, which is weird because I didn't grow up around it. Like nobody in my family was like musical, or like there wasn't instruments around in my house. I must have been, I guess, like going to church or something like that. I must have seen somebody playing a guitar at some point, and then that must have got it in my head. But I wanted to play the guitar from the earliest age, and it stuck with me for a really long time. Like, just lost the camera.
No shit.
Oh no.
What the hell?
Earl, you okay?
I will survive.
I mean, of all days.
Oh my god.
Do you guys have a poltergeist in here or something?
Dude, I think this house is haunted.
Yes,
We
I-
were saying when we came in here, like this is like the entrance to a horror movie because we're coming up. Like,
Oh, yeah, into
I
the
didn't
forest,
realize
yeah.
Top Hill Recording. You guys are literally people listening home maybe don't know. We are recording on the top of a very large and scary hill, and we like lost cell service on the way up here. We're like, this is either going to be like an awesome podcast or Brent and Neil are going to kill and eat us. Like that's the only option.
You all have been blessed with some shit.
I know. I've been here. I think this is my 5th time, and never once has it been like this.
I mean, cameras don't work. Stuff falling. What the hell?
I know. I'm glad that happened on tape when I call my lawyer later. my head and neck
We'll give you-
are quite sore now.
We'll give you half of what we got, and we are in the hole. So, all right, let's try that again. I don't
Sure.
even know where we were. I think you were telling me about how music was always
Oh,
just
sure.
there.
Yeah. So yeah, I can't remember a time when I didn't want to do it. But I think it was, I think as far as like a moment when I just figured out that it was something I needed to do, I think it was fairly recently, honestly. It was maybe year and a half, 2 years ago, something like that, when it had always been something I was passionate about. And I think I just at a certain point made a decision that like I knew I wasn't going to be happy if I wasn't doing it full force. And so I think that it was just a small mental change that just decided to just pursue it with everything that I had been putting into other things in my life and just treat music with the same level of sort of rigor. And it worked. It's kind of an obvious conclusion because like you start doing the thing that you love to do and it makes you happier. You start meeting people that you can become friends with, that you share that passion with. So I guess that's as close as I've come to like a moment of realization, even though it was kind of there the whole time, you know.
Mm-hmm. How long had you been playing guitar?
I started when I was 11 and I'm about to be 31. So coming on 20 years.
Okay, so
The guitar
Hey.
verse.
Thank you.
it's very important. So 11 years old, you're 6th grade, 5th grade?
Something like that. Yeah.
You know, that is a pivotal age of where you either stick with it or never play it again.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
know, so the fact that like 11, because if you're 10, you give it a week and then you're done.
Yeah. You could lose interest pretty quick.
That's what happened with me at a very young age. I came back to it, thankfully, but yeah, the first go around was no good.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Hurt your fingers too much.
It's tough. Yeah.
I had hurt my ears. I was playing Mary Had a Little Lamb, thanks to Daryl Ray, and I hated it. I was like, this is not what I want to do. I wanted to play like either Michael Jackson or George Michael Faith.
Sure.
You give me one of those two songs, let's go. But otherwise, yeah. So what about you, Heather? How long have you been playing the bass?
Since December.
Shut up. Are you serious?
The
I said the
upright
same thing.
since June.
Bass since December, upright since June.
That's
Yes.
crazy.
What month is that? September?
It's September.
It's
yeah.
early. So it's like mid-September. What?
That's crazy.
So, like, did you play anything else prior to?
I did.
Okay,
yeah.
what did you play?
I've started playing trombone when I was in 6th grade and
Okay.
played that all the way through high school. I picked up
Okay.
guitar when I was like 13.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
Wow.
trombone, were you in the marching band?
I was.
Okay. My kiddo was in the marching band for a year, and then he switched over to football, and I swear I think he misses the marching band. He's a baritone sax player.
Oh, nice.
He's got the
Yeah.
bass. He holds it down, man. He does good. But yeah, so that is such an important education.
Hmm.
Musical education is huge especially if you stick with this. Were you in band by any chance?
Yeah,
as a
it
kid?
was. Yeah.
What did you play?
Play the
in?
trombone too.
Trombone.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Man, it is such a. Did you both learn how to read music?
Mhm.
Just do you teach? What's going on? What are we doing?
No, I don't. I
Not
don't teach music. No.
So, like, did it transition? Do you read music as bass player, guitar player as well? Like, do you ever look at music or just play now?
I mean, when I write, I'm definitely thinking. I'm not thinking about like writing out sheet music. Like
Yeah.
we do occasionally. Like there's a song on the album that has a trumpet on it, and I had to sit and write out sheet music for the guy who played it for us. But as far as like the actual songs we play, like we don't have like sheet music versions of the songs necessarily. But you do like write out like notes on the parts basically. Like some point you have some notation that you make. Right?
Yeah, I have like a bastardized notation system. It's like writing out note names instead of tabs.
Yeah. Most of it's just locked up in my head at a certain point.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. kind of plays itself out once you know it, huh?
Sure.
Yeah. Interesting. So do you think the transition, Heather, we'll start with you, from trumpet to trumpet, right? Trombone.
The slidey one.
Thanks, Alan. Oh, my bad. Alan plays trumpet. Alex plays trombone.
That's right. Alan's also on the board of directors. He's just not here right now.
All right. So, Heather, do you think playing another instrument coming up, did it roll you over to the bass? Is that why you're efficient enough to start that in January and be where you are now?
I do think playing a low brass instrument does sort of translate in a lot of ways to playing the low end on a stringed instrument.
Yeah. Totally different setup, but just for the ear.
Right.
Ear quality.
For sure.
And it sounds like you play all kinds of stuff. Like, yeah. I mean, and I think it's funny too, because like both your stories about music are so different. Because you say, you're very much like me. I always wanted to play music ever since I could remember. The guitar was like a magical thing.
Sure.
And you seem like you can play all kinds of stuff. And you were like, oh, I had no intention of being a musician. You just like play all kinds of stuff, so you get to keep playing. I think it's so interesting how that works out.
Yeah.
And it's funny because there's a lot of people that are really just want to be a musician, and you just go and you do it. And other people, you're really good, and you just keep playing because
how'd this happen?
It's like people keep asking you to do stuff because you're good. Yeah, it's so interesting.
So my sister-in-law was telling me a story, and this kind of goes to what you're talking about, because I just saw Bruno Mars at Bourbon and Beyond last night, and it was insane. I mean, it was crazy. It was I saw Michael Jackson when I was 10, and I thought it was amazing. And then like the next best stuff I've seen is like Billy Strings and headliners and Marcus King and Mercury Ballroom in these tiny venues before they're huge. But seeing shows like that, there's been a few of them, but Bruno Mars was amazing. And my sister-in-law was telling me a story where she used to live in Hawaii, and when she talked to an old friend recently, and they went to this resort thing for a night while they were on the Big Island or something like that. I don't remember the details, but the detail I do remember is when she was talking to her friend, they were like, hey, you remember that kid, that 4-year-old that got up and did Elvis impressions? And they're like, yeah, that was Bruno Mars. So
wow.
Talk about somebody who's like, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah. I'm
going to grow it. And I mean, that's just what he was, some people are born to do stuff. Some people had the desire, and just like when those things meet is when it just becomes insane. It's like magical. All right, that's all I got to say.
That was beautiful.
Well, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I'm gonna have to catch Bruno now. So
you really do.
You've talked him up all day. So
I didn't mean to. I didn't think I'd be in here talking about Bruno Mars after all the other shows that we saw. I mean, it was killer. But speaking of the Killers were good. Yeah, man. There's all kinds of crazy stuff going on in Louisville right now. All kinds of good big shows. But I really like. You spend so much time at local shows. I mean, there's such a great crop of players around here, and great musicians. What is you guys are at Cincinnati now? What does that music scene look like as a local music scene? Is there a big local music scene and support inside of that?
There is, yeah. It's interesting because I think it's there's definitely, being so close to Kentucky and being this part of the country, a lot of it is sort of tailored towards sort of like bluegrass and country and sort of blues players and stuff like that. And we're a little bit outside of that in some regard, because we're kind of like a punk band or like pop punk band, kind of a little bit more in that direction. But everybody's really receptive to it. Like it was the cool thing is like I was thinking coming here playing these songs, like being from out of town originally, I was thinking like people aren't going to be into like whatever it is we're doing. But even like the real hardcore like bluegrass and country guys were responding to kind of like the way we were playing, and you can do shows with people in other genres and it's not weird, so it's definitely a cool environment. I think some people get freaked out about like maybe if there's not a lot of other bands that sound like you, but in Cincinnati that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like everybody's down to just support whoever's playing, and like everybody kind of knows each other, but it's a big enough scene that there's still kind of room to grow as well.
Sweet. So do you do that a lot where you have a bunch of like, not everybody has to sound the same type of shows, right?
Oh yeah, I love doing those kind of shows. It's fun because you get like crossover crowds, which is always cool because like most people like different types of music, and like you all are different, but you make your music's great, and I listen to a lot of it on the drive over here too. And so anytime, even if it's different, when you make something that's good, people will listen. Sure. And so like you definitely have really, really good stuff.
Well, and the thing about like especially punk pop, it's poppy. I mean, it has.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
earworm.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, you can't not like it. Like it's just
well,
it's like
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, well,
we don't like. We don't like those people. We don't like them people.
Because it's just like it's catchy. I love pop punk. It's good stuff. So.
Thanks,
man. But yeah, you all make good stuff. Do you play in Louisville much, or
we? This is our first time in Louisville, actually.
Well,
this weekend.
Really?
Yeah. We just played last night at the Highlands Tap Room with a band called FMK, who's from Louisville.
Yeah.
And they were fantastic. But we had a really good time with them. But yeah, this weekend is our first time.
Oh, the Tap Room. Yeah, that
was great.
Yeah, that's a cool little room. Yeah.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that.
Well, if you ever want to come back, let me.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll hit you guys up.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a super easy drive and cool town to hang out in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I wonder whether there's I bet there would be a lot more of that if there were a lot more connections made in between. So maybe you guys can be the gap fillers,
Yeah,
that's what we're trying to do, man. Yeah. It's like it's not that far, but people.
No, it's not. Yeah, well, I'll hit you up for some shows. I'll do a show with you anytime.
2 hours, right? Cool. I mean, it's an easy drive.
Nah, yeah, it's not too bad at all.
I used to make it all the time.
It's because it's in a different state. People are like, I gotta get all the way to Kentucky. I'm like, you can walk to Kentucky.
Yeah, and then most people that go up to Kentucky like, we'll stay in Newport. We'll just
exactly. Yeah.
Man, I love Cincinnati. Downtown Cincinnati is awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
It's fun, man. There's all kinds of stuff to do. I love it down there. All right, well, you want to play another song for us?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
What do you got for us?
The next song, we're going to do Victoria, right?
Yes.
Yes, the next song is called Victoria.
I'm from a place a little farther east. The whole Midwest is a mystery. We started playing those little games. I rattled off trivia about her state. All I had was Slipknot and the Music Man. She laughed at that, so I took my chance. This really isn't like me, but I just have to confess, I'm so sorry, Victoria. I gotta have you as more than just a friend. I can tell that you knew what I was thinking. Open my mouth like a dam was breaking. I'm running up the phone bill. I can't stop thinking about you long enough to sleep. Nights with you were like a best of Motown CD. Sorry, you really got a hold on me. Climbed on statues at the sculpture park. 30-somethings with open hearts. Brought me home to meet your family. Drove to Davenport down 80 East. Took you to a River Bandits game. You knew the whole starting lineup's names. Told me they were headed for KC. Asked if I was ready for the major leagues. Spent a lifetime in the dugout. Now I'm swinging at that pitch. I'm so sorry, Victoria. I gotta have you as more than just a friend. I could tell that you knew what I was thinking. Open my mouth like a dam was breaking. I'm walking around in daydreams. I swear it's like I can't get anything else done. You're a prairie rose glowing in the sun. I'll leave my heart with you, Victoria. I'm so sorry, Victoria. I couldn't bring myself to watch you drive away, so I'm calling just to see if you're okay. I know it hasn't even been a day. I fell asleep with all the lights on. I was afraid that I might see you in my dreams. Tori, you're always haunting me. Can't get you to fade from memory.
Yeah, man.
Great song.
Dude. Killer lyrics.
Thanks,
man.
Yeah. Great harmonies, too.
Yeah. The harmonies came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You were singing a song about baseball and harmonies came out of left field.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know we were. I was a singer, man.
Yeah,
of course you are.
Yeah, I know, because he's like, I had no plans to be a musician. I just play 7 instruments and sing harmonies. So
just nailing it. It was awesome. Interesting, man. That was lyrically really, really cool.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, some of
it was.
Yeah, some of those tie-ins and talking about bringing. That was awesome.
Thanks. Thank you.
I was already impressed, like doing state trivia, and then I also got Slipknot and Music Man, and then we go into baseball, and you got me at baseball, man.
I'm
Is
that right?
Big Cubs fan. So we were talking about baseball. The
River Bandits?
River Bandits, yeah. We used to have River Bats. Now it's the Bats, so River Bandits. I was like, ooh.
Oh, okay.
Man. Yeah, that's a great lyrically strong song.
Thanks, man. I appreciate
Another great song.
Another great song.
And everyone should like it. I don't get it.
That's the thing. Like, music is hard, except for everybody but Heather, obviously. Music is hard. It's so... It's kind of the cool thing about, like when you were talking about coming and being a different part of the lineup and a different thing in the lineup, because it's hard to write and stand alone in anything because so much stuff is released. So many people put things out there. I mean, the if you look at the statistics, they'll freak you out.
Oh,
They're just
for
staggering. Sure. It's like a billion hours a minute uploaded to YouTube. It's like, what? What? Yeah, so I think it's cool when you are able to go to a lineup and kind of set your own spot, and especially with what you're doing. I mean, I've been to shows, local shows and stuff, and I don't see a lot of stuff that's like this right now.
No, I don't either.
So it's very, very.
Thanks.
I think it helps you, doesn't hinder you.
Oh,
to
cool.
be hey, we're not like this guy. We're kind of sandwiched in between a bluegrass lineup and a whatever, something or other. So, man, I think that's like a feather in the cap.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank
levels.
You could fit in all, because I'm sure too with the whole band. I mean, you would fit into all kinds of lineups.
Yeah.
Like,
it does help,
it's not like not folky, like in its content. And then, I love like the pop punk of it, even just with the two of you. It's really cool. Like I'm definitely going to be hitting you all up. But there's all kinds of I bet you all could end up on all kinds of cool bills with.
That's awesome. Thanks so much, man.
Yeah, and there's definitely like and I guess I'll ask this too. In your main band, like what kind of instrumentation do you have with everybody?
It's guitar, bass, and drums. So
cool.
We're not missing too many people.
Oh yeah, I got you. Yeah,
but but it'll it's definitely a different vibe when it's not like everything's all acoustic. So we kind of rearrange things a little bit to do this today.
Well, you definitely got to come do some shows down here and meet some.
Yeah,
people.
absolutely.
There's a great open mic scene in Louisville too. You should if you ever down on like come down on a Thursday, and there's some really good people out, and there's like touring acts that come out and go to open mic and stuff.
That's awesome.
Wow.
There's all kinds of people from beginners to, I mean, the girl who runs it, she's in like a touring band. There's all kinds of people. But you can meet all kinds of folks out because I know you mentioned you went to open mics and stuff.
Sure,
you should come down and do some shows for sure, because there's all kinds of places that would really like having you, I think.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great to hear.
Yeah, man, for sure. So how do you go about writing? What's the process like for you?
Oh man, I get a quill from a buzzard and I put it into a cat and I write on a parchment paper. No,
interesting.
No, but
Lord, bless me with a tune.
Yeah,
down floats a feather.
There's a seance involved. No, it's
sensory deprivation.
Right.
Chamber.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
It's funny, like weird little things will sort of get stuck in my head and give me an idea to start writing something. Like I think it's a matter of just being kind of. A lot of times the idea is sort of sitting right below the surface, and I just have to realize it's there. And then the subject matter if it's something that's worth writing about, it usually comes pretty naturally at that point. So a lot of times the most difficult part of it is just figuring out what's the actual like tone of the song, or like what's the subject I'm trying to write about, and then like figuring out the music and the melody and every other part of it that you really think about in the song comes sort of from that. But all the work goes into like figuring out like sort of like what you were saying before, like what are you going to write about? Like there's any number of songs, like Victoria's a love song, obviously, but it's like there's a lot of weird sort of idiosyncrasies about it that I think are what people tend to respond to. And those are those parts of like, why is it going to be in Iowa, or why is it going to be, about this specific thing? That all was like based on a real experience where the job, I guess the statute of limitations on this story is off because I quit this job, but a while, like maybe 2 years ago now, I used to have a job where I traveled around a lot, and I was working out in Iowa for a little bit, and I met a woman that worked for the same company as me, whose name was Victoria. And I just got like the biggest, like dumbest schoolboy crush on this woman, like everything, like holding doors open, saying "ma'am," like every little,
Victoria,
all the stops, yeah. And I couldn't stop thinking about her for a long time. I was like flying back to CVG, listening to like sad Tom Waits songs on my iPod and stuff like that. Like it was really bad. But after a while, I realized there's nothing I can do about it. I mean, she lives like 600 miles away, and she's, we're coworkers. Like just a whole bunch of reasons it wouldn't work out. So I decided I would write a song about what could have happened if we'd met under different circumstances. And so it was all just that was the moment where I was like, oh, well, if I just changed like one or two things about this and made up a story going in that direction, it was like, oh, I remember when I was there when I was in Iowa, and I went to this place, and like what else is happening down there, and like what would I do if I did meet her at a party? I would probably start talking about Slipknot and just rattling off like weird stuff that I know about Iowa and like the Music Man and stuff like that. So it felt genuine, but it was also like it's also fictional at the same time. So it's a weird kind of
that's very
middle
cool.
ground. Yeah,
that's super cool, man. That's awesome. Plus, it ties in. I think the real life aspect of it just ties in. It makes you sing it with conviction.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not forged, and what if? You never know. It's just what it is. It's a what if. It is cool to write a song about. Hey,
everyone thinks about that.
What could have happened? So
yeah.
Here's something that could have happened.
Sure,
cool.
sure.
Yeah, great song.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. I heard Victoria sucked anyway.
Yeah, she was awful.
That's what I heard.
You dodged a bullet.
Yeah, dude, you really did. I think I saw on Judge Judy a couple weeks ago.
And she lost.
Yeah, Judge Judy yelled at her, and you don't want that. No. All right.
Oh man.
She created. You got a song out.
There you go.
I heard that's the only thing good that ever happened to Victoria is that she gave you a song. So there you go. You didn't miss anything, man. I'm saying.
I feel a lot better now.
No, dude. Cool way. How do you write? Do you have do you have a process that you iron it out, or does it just come?
I don't really have a process too much. Like honestly, I just whenever I feel like writing, I get in kind of little jags, but then I'll just
been in years of jags.
Yeah, well, it just whenever I feel like I get inspiration or whatever, I don't know. I don't really have anything specific. I'll just get my phone and start strumming and typing until. Usually, I try to get it done just to make sure it's done, and then I can change stuff later. But
yeah.
Not always. Sometimes I write a couple lines and then I drift away into something totally unrelated. Oh, I'll weed.
He goes,
but yeah, that's like both the inspiration and like the hindrance.
You took too many hits, man.
Yeah.
So, Heather, would you write?
I do not write.
I'm sure if you did, it'd be a number one hit. You're like, I just accidentally wrote this down, and then it would take off. I could see it. So, do you, when you write, this is weird, how do you hear it? Do you, when the idea comes to you,
Sure.
when the lyrics come to you, do you hear the melody line? Do you know what, not necessarily what key it's in, but
Sure.
do you know every movement it's getting ready to make as you're singing it? if you know that.
Yeah, 100%. The way I always think of that, because I think about this a lot, because every now and then someone will ask me like I'm trying to understand it myself sometimes, but to me it's like there's a song playing on a radio that's like down a long hallway or something, and like you can hear it, but you don't have all the details necessarily. Like you can sort of make it out, and like you kind of just have to start walking down that hallway and see if you can find where it's at. And every now and then it's a dead end and it's a crap song and you throw it away. But most of the time, if it's compelling enough to like get stuck in my head, then I'll just have to kind of keep rolling it around. And like once I hit on something, then it'll just sort of keep playing like over and over and over in my head until all the little variations on the melody kind of work themselves out. And then eventually the song just gets done that way. Yeah. So it happens like writing happens like 99% in my head and like 1% actually with a guitar in my hand, which is kind of weird. But yeah,
that's really interesting. That is not at all. No.
Really?
No, you have to.
No, I'm strumming. Like when I'm writing, I mean, I write really simple songs. I'm strumming. I get some chords. I get a groove or whatever it is, and then a melody kind of pops into my head. I like hum it, and then whatever line like kind of comes out first is usually what. If I like it, that's what I build the song.
Interesting.
Off of. Like it's really simple. Like I don't ever. It's really rare that I'm like, oh, I want to write a song about this, and then I do. I'm just it's just kind of whatever comes out. If I like the line, then I make it whatever is relatable to me. I don't know whatever. If I like it, I go with it. If I don't, I don't.
Do you always start with music then?
Always, yeah.
Always start with music.
Always, yeah. I don't know if I've ever just like. I've maybe have like wrote down a line that just popped into my head, but with a melody like attached to it. But I always am usually almost always strumming, or very rarely I'll get on the piano and just do some chords. But it's all. I always love talking to people about how they write, because I feel like I write really simple. Like it feels very simple to me when people ask, because people do ask that question.
Sure,
it's like, how do you answer? It's like I just strum and then I just type like on my phone as it comes out, like and I do like think about it obviously as it gets started to try to like work it out, because you kind of have like a melody in your head, but yeah, I don't have it's really it's not very exciting. Like it's boring.
The silent assassin in the corner has released more music than anybody in this room.
Is that right?
How do you process that type? Like what do you start with? Does it change for you? Like, is it different? Do sometimes you write like music first, or is it always lyrics or any of that?
I don't know. I don't consider myself a
just
songwriter.
How do you write, man? Nobody cares if you consider yourself anything. We didn't ask you that. Like, you've got a bunch of songs.
I write shitty songs when I'm going through, like for therapy mainly.
Yeah,
I mean, that's my thing. Is like I write when I'm going through stuff. Like
the process.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, otherwise, I'm not really inspired to play a lot.
Is it lyric based specifically? Or you just kind of start playing something and then have something to say, and you like what you're playing?
Sometimes I'll like strum the guitar. Sometimes I might hear like a melody line in my head and record on my phone.
Yeah.
Sometimes I would like write a line down, maybe. Sometimes I hear a drum beat. Or like not very often, but
it just kind of
depends.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah. So
that's really interesting.
Yes, it's always interesting because everybody's different. That's what I say this every time, but that's my favorite thing about music is how there's so many different ways to do every aspect of it. Literally, like from like writing to releasing to social media to anything in between to booking or whatever, and everyone does it a little different. And it's very cool to like listen to how people do stuff, because it's you can learn a lot, or you can learn. You always learn a lot, whether it's something you should try or something you should not do at all.
So you said a lot of stuff in there that was like, ooh, like booking and stuff like that. I know it's good to know, but the last thing I want to do is call somebody and be like, hey, can I come play? Just because that's my worst part. Yeah, even that.
It's horrifying.
I just, it's, I gave that up years ago. That's why I quit playing. I don't want to talk to anybody.
What about you, Neil? Is everything guitar? Or do you play piano?
No, it's everything. It's generally I'll lose 6 songs a day, because I won't sit and go, okay, I need to.
Do you record like a voice memo?
Sometimes. Like I wrote, and this is not normal, just because I normally don't take the time to sit down, but I had a couple things pop in my head today that I wrote down. They're choruses. I know what they are. I know what key they're in. I haven't touched the guitar. I know the melody line. I know where they're going to go. I don't know anything else about it, but the chorus is done. Like one's in E. I haven't played it yet, but it sounds in my head. That's the one I sent a message. We have a group message. I said, I just wrote a Sturgill Simpson chorus because it sounds, it's just lyrically arranged and sounds like I stole it from Sturgill Simpson. I didn't. It just popped in my head and I wrote it down. I'll probably never record it or play it or use it, but
that is funny. Do you ever sit down and try to write a song or find yourself writing a song in the style of somebody else, but then it comes out like a little bit off?
Of course.
Yeah.
You know, like there was, just for a small example, there was one time I was listening to Bill Withers a lot, and he has Use Me Up. And I love that song, but I wanted to write a song about Let Me Use You, just kind of like a call and response to that, not to him. But, you know, just kind of like a dirty, kind of sexy thing. It was definitely not, I mean, you know, I can't write sexy, but I pull off the dirty. So, yeah, I mean, sometimes I think if you are a lover of music, you're going to write something and that's yours and it's true to you and it is an original song to where you go, that's kind of feels like I took something from this band, even though you didn't, or if it's just like a couple notes. Here's an example. I mean, not the Victoria, the bon don 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 don. Okay, man who sold the world. That's what I heard. You know, so I mean, you didn't rip it off. But that bass line called my ear to
from in 20 years, that one part.
In 20 years. That called me to that song, which made me feel familiar to that song and connected me to it. It is a bass line that is used in a ton of stuff. And when you hear that beautiful arrangement of notes, it draws your ear. And it's just, you know, there's only 12 notes. You know, I mean, there's 7 chords. It's just, there's only so much you can do.
Sure, yeah.
Did I say 12? Yeah. Good enough. So it's just like, I don't know, man. I think
I like familiar. Like, I mean, and like that's something like, I know we talked about writing, that when I wrote and even when I record stuff that I had to get over, just like, it's okay to sound a little like something else. That's just like music, unless you're doing something pretty crazy. Like if if you're inside of a genre, it should sound like something within that. I think, like whether if it's pop punk or whatever,
right?
If it doesn't sound like that to some extent, like then then you're not doing that. I kind of make Americana country music, and that's what it sounds like other stuff.
You ready? I got one for you. Who do you think of when you hear the song January by Tyler Lance Walker Gill? If you don't say Dwight Yoakam, you're crazy. It sounds like a Dwight Yoakam song. It sounds just like an old school Dwight Yoakam song, and Tyler, he probably wouldn't mind me saying that at all, because I'm sure he loves those old school musics. But it's just, there are songs that you go, oh my gosh, I could see somebody cutting that, like that song that I wrote. I could see Sturgill Simpson, not that he would, but you know, it's just such a setup like a song of his that, you know, I don't know, man. Music's weird. It's hard and it's weird. That's all I've established so far tonight.
That should be the tagline for you guys' podcast. Without the recording, music's weird.
Weird,
man. I don't know.
Keep music weird. It's still from Austin and Louisville.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, man. How about you? I want to play another song?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, what you got?
This song's called Company Man.
It took me 30 years in this industry to admit that it's no place for family. You can ask my first 2 wives about that, 'cause I spend more nights on hotel sheets. My friends have learned not to count on me for anything but Christmas cards and texts. But it didn't always used to be this way. There just came a time when we had bills to pay. Was ready then to sign my life away. that years ago. I did it all for the ones I love. I just hope someday they'll know. Are you thirsty, kid? I've got this round. We've known each other a while now. If memory serves, you started here in June. I'd like to know what you want from life. I can tell you now what I got from mine. I rode ambition like a bull till it knocked me loose. Put myself through school on the GI Bill. A company man living on goodwill. Didn't know how to feed a family, but I had to try. I never found that balance Dad told me to keep. He always knew when I went out too deep. But the year we lost him, I got taken by the tide. I started dreaming that my teeth were falling out, breaking promises that I made to myself. Always said if it got bad, then I'd get out. Now I'm feeling out of place in my own house. Anyone who says they live without regrets, they just haven't been tested yet. They just haven't been tested yet. 'Cause you don't know the meaning of sacrifice till you got this hollow look inside your eyes. I'm not afraid to die. I did that years ago. I did it all for the ones I love. Now they won't pick up the phone. Always thought when I got older I could make up for lost time. But as the top of the hourglass empties out, I'm starting to realize there's not one laugh left in my lungs. So kid, hold on to what you love. Promise me, promise me. 'Cause I don't want you to live with these regrets. You haven't been ruined yet. You haven't been ruined yet. You got the chance to learn from my mistakes. It don't have to be this way. It don't have to be this way. I'm not afraid to die. I did that years ago. But you hold on to the ones you love. Don't you ever let them go. Promise me. Promise me.
Nice. Another good one, man.
Yeah, great song.
Great tune.
And again, great harmonies.
Oh, yeah. Kill it low, man. You stayed low on that. It was awesome. Awesome. All right, you guys. So we just have a little bit left to go to wrap it up. But I guess we, in honor of our buddy Brad, we're going to do Weston's questions.
All right. And since there's just the two of you, I'll ask you each.
Sure.
And I know this is everybody's probably favorite question. Tell us one non-music thing about you that we should know. And Heather, if you want to start.
I work in theatrical costuming and costume design.
No kidding. Awesome.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah, it's a fun job.
So always working at a theater or like schools? What do you, everywhere, anywhere and everywhere?
Yeah, I've done a lot of like freelance design and I used to teach, but right now I work full time in a regional theater.
That's
wow.
amazing.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing that?
10-ish years.
Oh my gosh.
That is very neat.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So what's like your favorite thing you've ever designed or created or?
Oh, I really love creating like creature-y type costumes.
Okay.
So
we're coming up on your favorite time of year then.
Huh? Yeah, definitely. Well, that's where like my love of costuming really started, was with Halloween costumes. But working on shows like Peter Pan, or things that have like fantastical elements like that, and just sort of figuring out how to build those things. I built some velociraptors for a really weird musical called Enron a few years ago.
Really?
Yeah, that kind of stuff is my jam.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is a very cool job.
A fun job.
All right. Non-musical thing about me. I got second place in the Pinewood Derby when I was in Cub Scouts. That's probably my most recent non-musical accomplishment. It's been a dry spell, guys.
What was man? I wish I could have remembered Ricky Bobby right in that moment. Second place is the first loser or something like that.
If you ain't first, you're last.
Yeah, if you ain't first, you're last. Damn it, man. It would have been so funny a couple seconds ago.
Well, edit it out and just start.
If you ain't first, you're last. Thanks for the laugh, too. That's going to look... No, I won't do it. But I'm going to leave all that in.
Please do.
Yeah. All right. This is definitely a more fun question. A nightmare gig, or just like a memorable one that you all have had. And you can be like each of you can do one. It can be one for the band, or it sounds like I know you play like 30 instruments. So
that number keeps going up.
You play about 75 instruments, right?
Something like 150.
I heard you can only not play 3 instruments, and one of them is only the oboe.
Do you have a nightmare gig?
Not that comes to mind.
Do you have a nightmare?
It can just be. It can be funny.
Issue?
Yeah.
Like wardrobe malfunction?
Oh, all the time. Yeah.
Anything that's been just...
Anything that has a quick change has the potential to go disastrously bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You usually nail it, though.
Only because I'm obsessive about the details.
That's why you got the job.
Good habit, yeah.
And that's why you were hired. And have it after 10 years. I couldn't imagine that would be an easy job to keep.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Nightmare gig for me. It's not really a gig experience, but I recently just started doing a job doing home repair, and they have like meetings. That was like during my orientation. I got to meet all the other people. It's like 20 or some odd other guys there, and they do background checks on you, obviously. So I have a pretty conspicuous last name, so they found the band pretty quickly. And so during my first meeting, without any context, my boss just started playing one of our music videos, and for like it didn't say like, hey, and this is our new guy Alex, and he's gonna be like, they just started playing it. It was this video for this song called Luciferase, which is like a cartoon, like really kind of like funny kind of love song, and not the vibe you want to be giving off when you're gonna be like building houses with people and shit. And so I'm sitting there, and they're just I'm a total stranger to these people, and they're looking at the screen, and they're looking at me, and they're like, is that the guy? It was like, and this song, I don't know if you guys have heard it. This song is 75 minutes long. Like, it's the longest song in the world, and I'm just sitting there the whole time waiting for it to end. And he's like, I just thought that was great. Anyway, and like everyone was like, what was that? Like, it took everybody a while to put it together. And then like, but it's every job I've done since then, like somebody will eventually ask me after a while, they'll be like, so was that really rough for you? I was like, it was brutal, dude. It was absolutely brutal.
That is a nightmare.
That is horrifying.
Yeah.
When you started it with, well, when I started my new job, they did background checks. I thought that was going to go in a completely different way.
I know. I had no idea
what was in jail. Yeah.
Yeah, my mind like was definitely thinking a
like,
different direction.
Smuggled drugs somewhere.
I had a checkered past before the band. Let's not get into it.
It wasn't me.
They found out about Tijuana.
Yeah.
We don't talk about Tijuana. Yeah. I knew
it. And don't mention it. All right, last question, and this is.
Cincy regional.
Yeah,
Let's
say
Cincy centric.
Last local artist to Cincinnati that you all have listened to.
That you think is like.
Yeah, or just in that area.
You all should know about this band or this person that's.
Like, you know what I'm going to say. What are you going to say? Give your answer first.
I will shout out to a band called Get Wrecked, who's been on the scene about the same amount of time that we have.
That's right.
And it's 4 dudes. They play hardcore punk with a lot of humor, and they're super fun to play with. and great guys.
Yeah, they're great. I think they're putting out an EP relatively soon. So if you got a chance, people listen to the podcast, check it out. They're really, really fun.
All right.
My pick is going to be Undertipper. It's this band that I've been obsessed with for about a year.
Undertipper?
Undertipper is the name of the band. Actually, it's probably they're a great band. It's sort of in like the 90s, like Epitaph or like Fat Records kind of punk, like really catchy, really funny, great dudes that were a big inspiration to me when I got started playing here, because they were like doing like the exact kind of music that I wanted to play. And then after we got started in the scene, we got to do a show with them, and then they actually their lead singer came and sang on one of our songs that we just put out recently. Sweet. So it's been a really cool like full circle moment to get to actually meet somebody that I look up to so much. So they're a great band. So if you like us, though, you'll probably like Undertipper too.
Right on, man. All right, so for all our listeners and viewers that want to come see you play or find you on Spotify or social medias, where can they find you?
Sure. So you can, if you look up my name, you'll pretty much find the band.
Alex,
spell it. You can spell it wrong. I've tried, and you'll still find it. It's Kasznel, Kasznel. Alex Kasznel on all social media and everything. Alex Kasznel on the board of directors. That'll get you there as well. It's on Spotify and Apple Music and all the different places that you can get music. Check out the Bandcamp, alexkasznel.bandcamp.com.
Bandcamp Fridays, man.
Bandcamp Fridays, they're good, and you can download the songs and stream them there as well as you want, like the same way you can do anywhere else. But you can also get like T-shirts and merch and stuff like that if you're into that. And if you buy something on our merch page, we'll write you a handwritten thank you note. I always do. I promise you that.
Oh, so awesome.
But yeah, at any rate, and then we got I don't know when exactly this is going to get posted, but we're playing
like 3 weeks,
something like that.
Ish. Yeah, 3 weeks.
Sometime in October, probably.
3 weeks out, yeah.
So we're doing, is it the 27th, October 27th?
Yes.
October 27th, we do these DIY shows at our Legion Hall up in Mount Washington in Cincinnati, and we're doing a Halloween show on Friday, October 27th.
Nice.
It's going to be us and Jess Calloway and a band from Richmond, Indiana called Misunderstood, and I'm blanking on
Baker's Basement.
Baker's Basement is coming out from Cleveland to play with us. So we're really excited to have that. And it's gonna be an awesome show, and people can wear costumes and do everything.
We'll probably have the best costume of the night.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Do you always win best costume? These things?
I mean,
100% of the time. Yeah, but yeah, it's gonna be a great time. So anybody who's in the greater Cincinnati area should definitely come check that out.
Right on, man. All right, well, you want to take us out with one?
Absolutely.
All right, what you got for us?
The song's called 16 on Center.
The insulation they blew into the walls that stand between us will never be enough to suppress the sound of you singing. 16 on center, they space the studs. Drywall finishers tape the mud, but your voice bleeds through that R15 like it's gauze on top of surgery. And I'm lonely. Okay, fine, I'm lonely. The neighborhood looked nice from the shots on the street view, but they didn't prepare me for the moment I'd meet you. Decorating the front porch, they changed the name of this street in the First World War, but the city council don't hate Germans no more. At least that's how you put it. We both started laughing in our duplex off Hamburg Street. At 5 a.m. I hear the shriek of your alarm app, then the built-in speakers in your phone start running through podcasts. And I try to imagine imagine what I'd do if I woke up lying next to you. But the story sounds better if you hum the tune and let the feeling pass. I've been trying to write a song for you, but lately it's all verses with no hook to hold them together. Based off the records you recommended, you'd probably call this emo bullshit. The rhyme scheme's inconsistent and the plot points are disconnected. I wanna solve you like a puzzle, but you're a habit I can't grow out of. I know it doesn't make sense, but I don't know how else to put this.
Dude.
Great songwriting, man.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you. That's it. That